Surely that spring must be the divine nectar dropped from Olympus. As you draw near, within reach of its waters, the air is filled with the scent of violets and anything that grows from the earth. Branches, leaves, cannot float upon its surface but sinks to the bottom. A single sip from this spring will restore your complexion, and washing your skin in it will make it as soft as silk. Without a doubt, it is the blessing bestowed by Hebe, the goddess of youth. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus, often called the father of history, is well known for leaving behind an immense body of records. In his work Histories, regarded as the first historical account in the Western world, there is a passage describing the tales he heard and saw while traveling around the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. Among these records is a story that still sparks the curiosity of many to this day. It is the strange legend of eternal youth, passed down among the native peoples of Africa. The Macrobians dwell in the Horn of Africa. To the north live the Hyperboreans, and to the far south live the Macrobians. They maintain an astonishingly youthful appearance and live extraordinarily long lives, most to the age of 120 and some even longer. The secret lies in a spring they possess. To the ancient Greeks, the Macrobians were a legendary people. Not only did they retain a youthful appearance, but they were said to possess remarkable beauty. Anyone who had ever met them spoke endlessly of their sculpted features, marveling as though they had seen a living god of beauty. One traveler, amazed by their vitality, once asked their king directly what their secret was. The foreigner asked the king of the Macrobians about their lifespan and their diet. The king replied that they mainly ate boiled meat and drank only milk. When the foreigner could not hide his astonishment, the king led him to a certain spring. The place the king brought him to held a small spring. At first glance, it looked no different from any other small pool of water. The king invited the foreigner to bathe there with him. To his surprise, the moment he immersed himself, a gentle fragrance of violets rose from the water. Every place the water touched his skin seemed to glow with a subtle sheen. When he emerged from the spring, he felt as if his body had returned to its younger days. Herodotus referred to the Macrobian spring as the legendary spring, or the spring of life. Later, it would become more widely known as the Fountain of Youth. This fountain's legend appears in various myths and tales across cultures. One of the best known is the story of a mysterious spring in the adventures of Alexander the Great. In the 4th century BCE, a brief record states that Alexander set out on a quest to find it. In this account, the spring is described as a form of water of life. Even the great hero who built an empire feared the slow decay of life. The Fountain of Youth also appears in the letter written in 1165, known as the Letter of Prester John. Prester John was a legendary priest-king said to have spread Christianity to the east. At the foot of Mount Olympus, there is a spring whose fragrance changes from day to night, its waters bubbling constantly. Whoever drinks from it 3 times will never again feel fatigue and will live out their remaining years in youth. Remarkably, a passage in the Bible also seems to describe something similar. Near the Sheep Gate in Jerusalem, there is a pool, which in Hebrew is called Bethesda, surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to lie, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed, waiting for the moving of the waters. From time to time, an angel would come down and stir up the waters. The first one into the pool after each such disturbance would be cured of whatever disease they had. Legends of the Fountain of Youth, the River of Life, and other such wonders spread far and wide. They became especially popular among Spanish explorers. In 1493, on the island of Hispaniola, the Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon heard a curious rumor. It was the tale of a land overflowing with gold, passed around in sailors' stories. Though he was already living a prosperous life as a colonial governor, Ponce de Leon longed for even greater wealth. His investigation led him to believe the place was Puerto Rico, and he secretly set sail for it. In 1506, he arrived there unofficially. Recognizing the land's immense value and resources, he secured official permission and returned in 1508 to continue his exploration. Settling near San Juan, he heard a strange tale from the local natives. They spoke of an island somewhere far to the north, overflowing with rare treasures and home to a river that could restore vitality. They claimed that drinking from this river would turn an old man into a youth, banish all frailty, and cure any illness completely. Ponce de Leon relayed this story to the King of Spain, who was intrigued enough to officially authorize a voyage to find the Fountain of Youth. In 1513, Ponce de Leon set sail for the Bahama Islands. From the accounts of the native tribes, he believed that the legendary spring might still exist on an unexplored continent. Some sailors from the Caribbean even claimed it lay at the end of the Creator's ladder. The Creator built a ladder connecting heaven and earth for his followers, placing a spring at each end. When a follower grew old or sick, the Creator's servants would lead them up the ladder to heaven. There they would drink from the heavenly spring, then descend to bathe in the earthly spring. All illness would be washed away and they would be young again. Ponce de Leon became convinced that this heavenly spring was the very same Fountain of Youth. Continuing his voyage, he discovered a lush land where flowers carpeted the ground and animals roamed freely. He named it La Florida, the land of flowers. He remained there for some time exploring, and some believe he may have found the fountain in what is now Florida. In 1514, he returned to Spain, never again speaking of the Fountain of Youth. Many assumed he had failed in his search. Yet in 1521, Ponce de Leon sailed once more to Florida, officially to colonize it, though some suspected he was again seeking the fountain. However, he was wounded in battle with native warriors and soon died. This is the last widely known chapter of the quest for the Fountain of Youth. Some mystery theorists claim his adventure did not end in 1521. They believe he did not die in battle, but truly found the fountain. According to these stories, he faked his death, changed his identity, and traveled east, spreading tales of the mystical spring and water of life. The Fountain of Youth legend exists in similar forms across many cultures, both East and West. In China, there are tales of immortality. In medieval European alchemy, there is the elixir of life. Perhaps all these stories share a single origin. During the Age of Exploration, countless adventurers sought it, but none could uncover its truth. Is the Fountain of Youth nothing more than a place of myth and legend? Or did it once exist, only to vanish from the world forever? This was Midnight Journey,